Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Askler. Mr. Craig Talley's on the line here. Be hosting the show tonight. I just went ahead and decided to do one tonight. I got back in time, so I figured I had to do the old text message to Craig and say, "Hey, you on for tonight?" Because it has been kind of rough lately for us. So, but yeah, we're going to try to get back to Thursdays and Saturday nights from now on, the best I can, anyway. So. Just wanted to kind of keep it going because I miss doing it. You know, Craig, we were kind of going nuts on Thursday nights. I'd give him a call or something like that, or message him on Facebook, and it's like, I wish I could do the show tonight, but I'm not back yet. You know, I got tired of having to try to do archives and stuff. But yeah, Craig. So what have you been up to today, brother?
Yard work.
Everything but metal detecting.
Yeah, yes. 2 days ago, I cut the grass for the third time.
Yeah.
And I got this Apple Watch, so I was looking at it. I walked 4.88 miles, pushing that lawnmower.
Yep.
It probably took me, I don't know, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
But I have to put more. I have to put more gas in the thing. You know, run out of gas before I'm probably about 3/4 through the yard, and then I have to put more gas in. How big the yard is. But it's just the pollen has just been killing me the last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, same down here. I was out messing out in the yard with a detector yesterday, and I had about an hour or so just horsing around with it. I have a little test garden put in, and I was just trying some different settings with that Quest Pro, and it's like I'm brushing the ground. You can just see the pollen. It's like, okay, it's getting all, just fluffing up like almost like a talcum powder or something like that. I'm like, man, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I hear these oak trees, dropping all that stuff. But yeah, just doing some basic tests with it. I was kind of surprised. I had that chain link fence down in the ground, and it's almost picking up that quarter I put in between the links. Just to see, iron discrimination or iron separation, more or less, to see how it would do. Now, I haven't messed with the recovery delay or nothing on it. I was just kind of horsing around with the detector. But I was kind of surprised because, of course, I know where they're at, so I know what to listen for anyways. But it was clear enough you could do it without the headphones. I mean, it was coming through the speaker, so I was kind of impressed with that. That's a really, really hard test for any metal detector to do. The only one that I found that will do it, pretty much spot on is a Bliss. Just being able to even the nail tests and stuff we did with that machine.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that.
It was like in my yard in Alexandria. I remember after I ripped all the ivy and the bushes out all along the fence line, and right in the front. I never found much in that little section. I think I found the only silver. Well, I found more silver quarters after we chopped up the yard with the bobcat, but
right.
I'd only gotten one silver quarter there and one bullet, I think.
Yeah, you got a round ball there. I remember you telling me a round ball.
But anyway, the fence is still up, and so it was uncovered where I could, sweep the coil, and I had the 7x9 inch coil, and I was rubbing it against the fence, and I picked up this really good signal. I couldn't go in two different directions, but it had that, kind of copper brass nuance to it.
Right.
And I said, oh man, that's probably going to be a wheat penny or something. And so I dug down about 3-4 inches. I couldn't even use the pinpointer because the fence was too close.
Oh yeah. You get within 4 inches of that thing, it'll go off. Yeah.
But anyway, I dig I got the third Indian head I ever found in the yard.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you used to rub almost, even axe heads, Craig. I remember finding, I had it in the video. I was detecting, I figured it was I thought it was a nickel or something like that, but it turned out to be a pull tab, or a square tab, and I showed it when I went to dig up the target. I actually pried up an axe head literally within an inch of that where that aluminum square tab was. And it's like, man, you just knock out a whole axe head. How many detectors can do that? There's just not very many. I don't know if the Equinox will do it or not, but it'd be very difficult for it to, I believe, because it's just such a big piece of iron. But that bliss tool, man, it'd do it.
Yeah, one thing I noticed that the Equinox kind of does it same thing on the iron discrimination that the bliss does. You can go in the other direction, and a lot of times it'll either knock it out completely or it'll just scratch.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing, though.
But it also there's like this low tone that iron gives when you go into that range.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been digging more iron stuff because I want pieces of shells and stuff, and you never know in these older places what you're going to find. And
right,
I took the bliss over there to that site up the street that I've been hunting, and I came by in the morning. What was it, 2 days ago? No, I was going to lunch, and I was driving by, and I looked to the right, and he'd taken raked the whole yard and pushed a bunch of dirt across, and pushed it all the way up in a pile in the back. And he didn't take much off, maybe an inch.
Right.
But, I didn't find anything the first hour. I was going real slow with the bliss, and I had to turn the. There was so much iron in the ground that I had to turn use full discrimination on the iron.
Right, 10 and 10 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but then when I got back in the back part of the yard where I decided to hunt where I found that keeper,
mm-hmm.
and I got a signal. Kind of about maybe 5 feet away, and it was it was a really good signal, and I thought it's going to be something about maybe 5 inches deep or something, and so I keep digging and digging. I get down about must have been 12, 13 inches, and I pulled out a pewter spoon handle,
mm-hmm.
real heavy, thick one, and I found 2 bowls in that same area, and I found the 2 King George coins in that same area, and a few buttons, and 1 eagle button in that same area. When he first bowled us through there,
right.
But anyway, I went back over the hole, and I got another signal, and I dug up this square piece of brass, and it's kind of slightly rounded, and it's got a hole in it. Wondering if it wasn't attached to something,
mm-hmm.
maybe a knife or I don't know. It's kind of small, maybe about twice as big as your thumbnail.
Right.
But it's rounded, a little bit like a bit on the something round, and then it has a hole in the middle. And it's old. Look, it's got that real dark.
The patina look,
green
too.
patina on it. Yeah. Same with that pewter spoon handle.
Well, yeah, I know what that stuff looked like up there. With the colonial stuff, the brass and copper stuff I found at the hunt up there. It was like a dark green, real nice patina on it. It's not like you could tell it was from the 1700s. It wasn't from the late 1800s. So, yeah, it very well may be older than you think it is.
Yeah, the fact that they were both in the same hole.
Yeah.
Means they were probably, that deep. I mean, that's, 11, 12, 13 inches deep.
Right.
Like
yeah, it's quite deep. I found stuff like that at a picnic, like a picnic grove where they used to have picnics all the time. And, I went through there and we ended up digging up, these big cast serving spoons, like these ladles and stuff. They were almost like cast metal, which I thought was pretty neat. But they were like a foot and a half down in the ground. It's weird. But I see that Earl's on from Virginia. I said, I don't know, brother. I don't know where everybody's at, but they might be listening to Relics Radio tonight too. He's on at the same time. But we kind of did a spur of the moment thing, so I figured y'all catch it on the replay if anything else. So, but yeah, I just saw him pop up on chat there. But yeah, we haven't been doing it, Craig. So it's I want to get back to it though. I mean, it's I like doing Thursday night because it's kind of like just a break. The weekend's coming up and everything else. So get motivated. Yeah, that's right. My wife said, get out there hunting, keep you motivated. But yeah, I'm hoping to get out here. I mean, it's getting hot already down here, and in the 80s and 90s. But heck, and in a couple weeks, we're still trying to get stuff organized and moved in and everything. So, I've been out there in my office and I got all the detectors. And I already had to move the bliss tool 3 times because I don't want a chance knocking it over. I have it kind of sitting down in where my showcase is. So I'm like, man, I got to get out there and do some detecting, Craig. It's driving me crazy. I think I'll probably hunt for 10 hours straight and come back so crippled up it won't be funny, but it'll be all right.
Well, I went by my permission today down that Jeff got us, and the grass was kind of high. They cut one little road through, but grass was probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches high.
Yeah.
They'll probably cut it, several times during the summer. But I looked up on top of the hill, and it's all right around the farmhouse and everything. It's all beautiful level grass. So we think that that's probably going to be where a lot of this stuff is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I would.
Because it overlooks like an intersection or a road there, and after the battle, the whole Union Army retreated right up, the road right next to that property, and they had to go across the creek, and so it's a great looking spot.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe, I got out there and we were hunting over. Jeff had a bunch of permissions on the other side of the road around those graveyards, and we were coming out of there, and he said something. He pointed over to the right, and I said, "No, I pointed over to the left. I said, see up on that hill? That's where I know there's got to be stuff up there."
Yep.
And so next day he calls me and says, "Hey, that spot you were telling me about?" He goes, "Let's go up there." And so I said, "Oh, okay." So I get in the truck and I said, "Oh, we're going to knock on the door and get permission?" He goes, No, man, we already got permission and we can come anytime we want."
That works.
I was like, "Oh my God, you're kidding me."
Craig, you got him fired up again is what you did. I mean? He's all fired up.
Well, he's telling me, he goes, "Man, it's so fun to hunt with you."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, he kept saying, well, why don't you go on back?" I said, No, I'm going to wait for you. I said, no big deal. But,
I don't know. It's just in the way that you detect, Craig. I mean, I detect a lot like you do anyways, but, we could sit out there and have a ball, just go out there swinging detectors and, stop, take a break, talk for a while, go out metal detecting again. We're kind of laid back in a way, but we're, hardcore about it. I mean, it's just like when we're out there, when we're swinging that detector, it's all about that metal detecting. It's not about anything else. We're just listening for tones and how they sound and everything else real on it. But then we can stop and just kind of have a, just a regular old BS session. And
it's like with Jeff and I, we have to kind of like say like he has to get at least 20 feet away from me when I get to Equinox.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I was. It's like, if we find something, I'll either walk over and show him what I found, or he'll yell over and I'll go see what he found. But it's I'm gonna sit there and talk for a while, and and just driving around and stuff, and he's a real good researcher, and he said his brother's even better. But I just, I've always used intuition and just, I just haven't really researched like a lot of people do.
Right. Me neither. I'm not into it as much.
I've gotten permissions that people say, there's nothing there. And went down a colonial site and found a, real and, probably 50 buttons.
Yeah,
And it was right in the middle of a, urban jungle,
right.
It's just nothing but little townhouses all around. And there was this one area that was just undisturbed. And I'm thinking, man, that's got to have been
Something good, yeah.
It was probably a huge farm back then.
Right.
But it's all been taken over. It's like another guy I found, I was telling him, I said, is there anything back this way? And it was near George Washington's home. Probably one neighborhood from it, right on I think it's Route 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, not Route 1. It was the Parkway that goes right along the Potomac River.
Oh, okay.
And there was this rich neighborhood right off to the right, and then he lived at the end of this one road there, and right behind his house is this long stretch of woods. And so I said, there might be something back there, and so he calls me up and he says, man, you got to come over and check this out, So I go over there and it's a cannonball, and he found it laying on the partially, sticking out of the ground. When he was just walking around back there. So we go back there. I bring 2 detectors, we're hunting all over the place. We can't find a nail or nothing. It's weird. Nothing. Not a thing.
Huh.
Just this one cannonball. But
I don't know. I don't. Maybe there just wasn't anything there. But
yeah,
I mean, I can't imagine it being hunted out. I mean, if it's been hunted, I'm sure somebody's been.
I'd asked a lot of relic hunters, about that area, and they said several of them had said they'd hunted in that area and never found much.
Really?
And, there was a huge farm there. I think it was called Collingwood.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, when you drove by this one area, I said, yeah, that's where it was. And the guy says, I don't see nothing. I said, look at those cedar trees. They're all lined up and down the road.
Yeah. What?
I said, those things are, old trees, and they've been there a long time. And that's just, you don't see just old cedar trees just lining the road like that.
Right.
Nowadays.
No.
It's like up here, you see it a lot. I mean, you see some of the huge, I saw these elm trees and stuff. Unbelievable how big they are.
Yeah, like the sycamore trees at that one up in Horsham. Those big sycamore trees, those things were huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were down along this creek, and I looked down, and it was like in this gorge, and here's these big white, kind of whitish trees sticking up, and they were all the sycamores. They like water.
Well, same kind of thing happened, when I was up in Tennessee, I was visiting Bill Pendergrass and Tom Bunch. They're up in near Murfreesboro or Nashville or whatever, and went hunting with them for a few days and stuff like that. We went to a spot. I think Tom had to work or something like that. So me and Bill went over there to hunt this one property they had permission on. It was supposedly it was a huge mansion. They did a bunch of gatherings and stuff like that, like presidential kind of things way back when. I'm talking 1700s, late 1700s, early 1800s. And, had all this history to it. The guy that owned it or that was running the place or whatever, he gave him permission to hunt it. So we're thinking, all right, this would be pretty good. But I guess the mansion had caught on fire at one time, and they pushed it over the hill, like down into the lower part of the ravine there. It was, not real steep, Craig. You could walk it and everything. But anyway, so we're thinking, okay, it's going to have a lot of nails and stuff, and we should find some pretty good stuff there. They had parties there. They had, all this stuff going on. We didn't find, not that day, neither one of us found anything older than a wheat penny. It was just incredible. I just think there was, with all the stuff going on there, I think it all got pushed down the hill or whatever. I mean, it got scraped off, or it just wasn't, they didn't do that in that area, of the yard or whatever. It was probably about a 20-acre spot. So, I mean, you had to kind of pick and choose. We went right behind where the house would have been. But yeah,
There
we
might have been another house in there that, you know,
mhm.
was where everything was. If it's a big area like that.
Well, they even had it, the original barn there. Well, what they called the original barn, and me and Bill went upstairs in the hayloft up there, just looking around, and it was pretty well clean. But they had a flag in there, and I'm trying to remember how many stars it had on it. It was, I want to say it was 46 stars or something like that on an American flag, and it was a real deal. It wasn't. I can't remember how many, but I know it was a lot. It was like 4 or 5 less than 50.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. We did find stuff that was visibly, antiques kind of around and stuff, but we never found anything in the ground except for like horseshoes and stuff like that. I'd expected to find I was hoping to find some presidential buttons, campaign buttons and stuff. Because I know they would do that back then, but we never did find anything out there. So it's another instance where you have all the information that says something was there, and they're just either it's been scraped away or just never happened, or they didn't have a lot of people around, a lot of foot traffic. That's the way it may have been on that farm. They had barns and a blacksmith probably and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as foot traffic activity, they didn't do a lot of outside stuff maybe, as far as parties and whatever picnics and that kind of thing. That's the only thing I can come up with. But you can have the best information in the world and not find nothing.
It's like all these cabin sites we were hunting on that creek, except for the one site that yielded probably the most stuff yielded 3 Indian head pennies, but that was only 3 coins we found.
Yeah.
In about, I don't know, six different cabin sites. There was at least 6 we hunted, and but a lot of common for their period artifacts. That we only found a couple of horseshoes. We didn't really find that many horseshoes. It was funny. I was watching the Stealth Diggers today, and they were at this place in the middle of nowhere. It took 2 miles to get there, and walking through the woods, and everybody's finding harmonica reeds everywhere.
Oh, really? Yeah, I find those every once in a while down here.
And I was sitting there laughing, and I said, you wouldn't believe how many I found in my yard. And, we found them every single one of those cabin sites. We found harmonica reeds, multiple ones. I mean, there was small ones, big ones. They had different sizes.
I found a whole harmonica, Craig, that was only about an inch long. A harmonica that was an inch long. I found one of those one time.
We had found one that still had the wood on it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I found one with everything on it. I mean, it was pretty well screwed up, but it had all the wood and everything on it. It was only about an inch long though. It was weird. I didn't know they made them that small. But yeah, I find all kinds of different harmonica reeds down here in some of these spots. It's weird where those pop up.
Hillbillies.
Yeah, we got well, we call them rednecks down here.
They call them right up here.
Yeah, true. Well, she said hillbillies at first. Ridge runners. That's what. I could say that because I'm from up there. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with rednecks. I have probably a lot of ancestors who are rednecks.
Oh yeah. Well, we definitely are. I know she is. My saltine cracker. That's what I call her. They call us crackers down here in Florida, but my wife's been down here so many generations, she's the salt of the earth, so we had to call her saltine. Hey, Earl from Virginia, he's on the chat, Craig, and he said that he wants to hang out sometime or another, do some detecting or whatever, so you can show him how to use his Nautilus DMC 2B, yep. But he's only 20 miles from you, I guess. So you guys, I don't know how if he's probably on Facebook or message each other or whatever.
We're subscribed to each other's channel too, I think.
Yeah. If you're only 20 miles apart, that'd be a fun time. I wish
you
guys.
I don't think it's even 20 miles. I think it's like I think it's 9 miles from Winchester. From here, I'm in Middletown, and I go to Winchester to that Apple something mall. They have the Best Buy and stuff up there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Earl's been on here for quite a while, as far as listening to the show and everything. Yeah, Craig knows all about the Nautiluses, and and that's another thing too. If you guys ever want to hear about a particular detector or how to do something or another, I mean, bring it up on chat, and I'll kind of go through there and try to keep better track of it, because a lot of times Craig and I take some things for granted, and I find myself doing that, and sometimes I've got to rewind because not everybody has the same level of experience here or there. Some people have more, some people have less. So we're kind of going over stuff, Craig, and making it sound like it's everyday stuff, and just people that are new to the hobby or something, they might need to know that information, swing speeds and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you ever have questions about it, don't be shy. Get on chat and type it up on there, or any other topic. It doesn't really matter. Give me my 2 cents worth. Craig can put his 2.5, 3 cents worth in.
Ask Craig, what's the latest, greatest pointer?
Oh, the latest, greatest pinpointer, is that what you said?
Yep.
That's what Pauline wants to know. I don't think there's anything that's...
Well, Father's Day is coming up.
Well, Father's Day is coming up. And Mother's Day. Don't forget about Mother's Day. Some mothers want metal detectors.
I don't know.
Well, I'm coming up on 4 years, I think, that I've had the Technex, which is now called X Pointer.
Yeah, they've lasted good,
and it still works. And I got a spare that's brand new that I got, and I was talking to Tim Glick the other day, and he loves this one that Deus has, and I think it pairs to the Deus.
Right. Almost be like a Sunray Gold does. Well, it's wired into the whites or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I guess that'd be really helpful.
I kind of like that Mind Lab one. Don't they have that one that has like a ferrous, non-ferrous signal?
Yeah, that's the newest one, isn't it? I think it's one of the newer ones.
The first test I saw done, it didn't work, and the guy was really upset. And He was a big Mind Lab guy, and but they may have fixed it. I don't know. But
what I'd be interested in seeing.
That would be pretty good for my yard, because I get so many nails in the hole with my.
Well, that's what I was going to say is being that it may be very good at determining ferrous or non-ferrous, but when you got them both in the hole, and the nails are so close to a target, is it going to be able to distinguish? Would anything be able to do it?
Will it fight?
Yeah, just go to the iron side. Craig? Yeah, I think it'd be pretty difficult for it to distinguish at a close distance with targets close together, like in a hole like that. But I don't know. I guess that's why I went with the pulse induction, because I don't really care. I want to know what's in the hole anyway. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just doing it more for a location thing more than anything else.
I just keep going around the hole, and most of the time it's just nails, but every once in a while I get a relic or a coin.
Yeah.
That was masked, or it's like, I wonder how many coins are on edge compared to ones that are flat.
I find a lot of mine on edge. A lot of them tilted, like more than 90 degree, whatever, almost standing straight up. I do find quite a few of those. Well, at least with the Bliss tool. The Quest, I haven't. Some of them are kind of turned a little bit, but most of them have been kind of flat. I don't know. I don't know how the Equinox is probably about the same. It'd probably pick them up on edge. I don't know how deep though. That's a really small surface area for most detectors to get, anyways. Being a coin on edge. But yeah, a lot of them seem like they, are tilted, especially down here in Florida. I guess because there's no real resistance. Unless you hit some, limestone rock or something like that. Stuff sinks a little deeper. But yeah,
we've got very rocky ground where I am.
Yeah. And really, you can kind of, coin go down and turn on its side to get in between two rocks. That's, I never even thought about that scenario. Especially as saturated as your ground seems to get in that town, because Because you were telling me the ground is all sloppy, sticking to your feet and everything else. So yeah, that's probably
Well, I
why you
mean,
find some of this deeper
that
stuff
that
anyway.
was just that where the guy bulldozing that
Good,
site.
No,
But,
okay.
it's we just had so much rain. I mean, God, for the last year and a half, it's just unbelievable how much rain.
Mhm.
We had some today. It was bright blue sky this morning, and I was out there doing yard work,
Yeah.
and I come in here, take a shower, and I come back out, and I hear this, weird sound coming from the back, and I go out there, and it's pouring down raining.
I like that idea with the one from Deus. You were saying that one actually goes through the headphones, the sound.
Yeah,
That's a good
Yeah,
idea. I can't tell you how many times I've used any pinpointer and have to pull the ear muff off my ear or whatever, ear cuff, whatever, off my ear so I can hear the pinpointer.
Yeah.
I do that all the time to make sure I'm hearing it right, whatever. But yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Being able to wire. It's almost like I remember they had what is it? Was it Sunray, right? The
yeah,
one that's wired in on the
what
White's
my friend
machines.
McAdams had.
Yeah, that's a
He
really
had,
good one too.
He had that on his what was it, the SE Pro. I don't know if he had. Then he got a E-Track.
Right. Well, they had them for
I
White's
think-
machines too, the DFXs and everything. You had to buy them specifically for whatever kind of detector you have. I think.
Mhm.
At least that's the way it was years ago. They may have changed by now, but that was always a good one. I know. Well, they have Viber Pro, which is it's a waterproof and doesn't have sound, just vibrates. It's more or less for diving and stuff. But some people use them. I mean, it's a durable one. But it's
That would be a good one for stream beds.
yeah, somebody
Or
doing rivers or
along
something
the
like that.
edges with your kids or whatever.
Yeah,
That one that you're talking about is simple to use.
that's true. The only thing I didn't like about that Viber Pro is that you tilt your hand to turn it on. And with us, Craig, I like to be able to turn the pinpointer on and use the lanyard and drop it right down into the hole. You know what I mean? Rather than get down on your hands and knees and everything like that, you can just kind of drop it in there. And if it goes off, well, you got a target down in there or of some kind before you get, it's not in the plug that you just dug out of the ground. A few of them are like that. The only ones I would say to absolutely stay away from, unless you just need something to get by with for a few weeks, is they have some of them like they have at Harbor Freight and stuff. I bought one myself. They're only $19 or $18, something like that, and it'll get you by. And it does work. It's not the buttons sometimes
If you're
break
used to a
on it.
good one,
Yeah, if you're used to a good one, you're not even going to want to mess with that unless you just have no other choice. If you're just starting out, you could buy one just because you're going to improve on your equipment and stuff that you use. But it's good to buy stuff, I guess, cheap on the cheap side when you first start out to see if it's a hobby you really enjoy or whether it's something you're just going to do like once in a blue moon.
There's an old saying: you get what you pay for.
Right.
But I see these ones that are going for about like $36.95 or something, and
Right.
they're orange. They sort of look like Garrett
Carrots,
carrots
yeah.
in a glance. But I've seen a few people swear by them. And say they've used them for 2 years and they're still working.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I did a lot of research and talking to a lot of people before I bought the one I got. And I remember I was talking to George, and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting this X pointer." And he goes, "Oh, that's the one I've used." And I go, "Oh, really?" And he goes, and I said, "What other ones have you tried?" And he goes, "I got every one that's on the market," or something like that. And I was like, "Really?" And he goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Well, that's why I bought it because it was. I saw a couple good reviews of it on YouTube. A couple guys that I knew that they did use them, but heck, you couldn't beat the price. I still don't think they're very expensive. I mean, I think I paid $85 or $89 for mine on eBay or wherever the heck I bought it from, somewhere on eBay or Amazon. And I bought it. God, it was like 2000 and it was 2014, maybe 15, but either way, man, that's several years, and I still haven't broke the lanyard, the clip, and I beat the crap out of pinpointers, but I still haven't worn the original tip off there, and or the case, that it has like I strap it right on the front of the bliss tool right there on the S shaft, and slide the pinpointer right in there. It's never broke, so that's pretty good for any pinpointer because I've had some that last year or two, but are starting to really fall apart. This one's not even showing any signs of breaking, and you can almost make it waterproof too.
Lanyard.
Yeah, that lanyard's good.
I've walked. All of a sudden, I can feel something pulling on my. I have it hooked to my. Digging bag.
Yeah.
And I got one of those Otter Mills, and it's got a spot. It's got a little loop thing where you stick the pinpointer in, and you just hook the lanyard right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that thing, I'll leave it on the ground, and I'll get up, and I feel it swinging. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, or trip on it and yank and kick on it, and it still holds up. It's never broken on me. I'll say that, and then tomorrow it will. But I've had it on there for 4 years, we'll say, and I've detected quite a bit in that 4 years amount of time. I've never had a pinpointer that I didn't have to take apart and clean. I had a white from that I had for 6 years. But man, I was like every year I'd have to take the thing apart, dump all the sand out of it, and had to replace the button several times, with a toggle and stuff. I just used the crap out of it, but it held up. This particular X pointer, it's just a lot less maintenance for it. You just throw a battery in it, and go. You don't really need to do a whole lot. Some of them. Some people are taping up the speaker. That's about the only place any water can get in.
Yeah,
silicone it or whatever if you wanted.
I put a piece of tape over it, but I think I took it off because I don't really, unless you're going to dunk it in the water, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal.
It's moisture, dew. Earl says he loves the Garrett Carrot. He's been still holding up and doing well since day one. It's a pretty durable one. I haven't heard anything bad about it.
That was my second choice, was the Garrett Carrot.
That's what I was looking at too.
Plus they got a great, warranty that basically just give you a new one.
Yeah,
pretty much. But
I haven't heard of anybody having any problems out of them. They pretty much. It's like the Les shovels. You're not going to.
It's got to be one of the most popular. It's got to be the most popular.
Yeah,
pinpoint in the world.
Yeah,
it's just like the AT Pro. I bet they've sold more than just about any other machine on the market. It's just a good middle of the line machine that really works good.
Some things don't need warranties, and that's probably one of them. The X pointer's the same way. Unless it's broken from day one when you get it out of the box, which I haven't heard of anybody having that problem at all. But if they're working, they're going to stay working. I haven't seen as many things I've done to mine that should have broken it altogether, and it's still working just fine, and I haven't had to mess with it other than put a battery in it once in a while. So if it's there's several of these, you get what you pay for, and in this case it just costs a little less than the other ones do. I don't know why. But I like it, because it's a little bit more affordable. Some of these pinpointers can get pretty pricey. I've seen pinpointers, $250, Craig, something like that. I think that's what the one is.
Yeah, well, I think that Mine Lab's up there.
Is it too? Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know it.
Mine Lab is pretty pricey. That's why I'm surprised that the Equinox is, the price it was.
Well, that was good. They needed to do that. Yeah.
I thought, man, that price point, they're gonna kill a lot of this, high-end company. Because they're going after Deus, basically. Deus, and now Deus came out with a cheaper, I think $600 called the ORX.
Yeah.
And it's, it'll accept the same coils as the Deus does.
Right.
So, it's, more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's good or not. But
that's the thing, when they start cutting prices. and it's any product, not just, I don't know what they're doing. I've never, used one of them, the new ones or whatever, but, it just gives that feeling that, okay, what are they cutting off this machine that's going to help me out? It just, if you can, if that's the only one you can afford, heck yeah, get it. That's what I'd say. I mean, knowing what I do now, because I started out with pretty much a bottom of the line, bounty hunter. I don't even can't remember where I got it from. I think I got it from Calico or somewhere, just to see if I was going to like the hobby. And it wasn't too long before I was buying a decent, more upgraded machine. Once I realized I really wanted to do this, and I needed to get more depth and everything else, because you're not going to get, they'll find you stuff, but it's just not as easy as far as items in depth. Like 7, 8 inches down, it's not going to hit those, but it'll get you started anyway. So yeah, you definitely get what you pay for a lot of times, especially in this hobby.
That Orex seems to be, it doesn't have as much programming.
Right.
It's more set.
More turn on and go.
Yeah, it's like with the Equinox, it doesn't have that many, it's got like, the basic programs, but then you can tweak those. But it's quite different from the Deus, where you got a whole range of different programs and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's even like the White Spectra. I used it. I mean, it has so many adjustments. But if you're not into that, if you're not into like all these different correlate things and color schemes and sounds, and why would you want a detector with all that on there if you can get the same power out of one that's pretty much bare bones, does what you want it to do, and that's it. That's the thing. I mean, I kind of like that idea, because they came up. If you remember right, White's came out with the VX3, I think it was, which was it had less options. That's all, but you still ran the same frequencies. Everything else was the same. You just couldn't go in there and adjust as many things, which for a lot of people that was a saving grace with that machine. I mean, it was a very interesting machine. I used it for about 3.5 years, but some people always did complain about how many options there were on it, and they didn't know where to put anything.
Too many adjustments.
Yeah, too many adjustments.
Yeah.
So, it's just pretty much preference when you get to that point. If you're buying a brand, or, these guys are buying, like you say, Deus, and they have a lesser, but it's still the same. They're not going to make the technology worse, and they're going to take options away from you, but the bare bones operations of that machine are probably about the same as the higher brand, higher priced one. It's like White's. They have machines like the MXT. I think it's only, about $900? That's all it's ever been, hadn't it? It's been about a $900 machine for quite a while. But
they got a couple different MXTs, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a bad price range. In other words, usually anything above what would say, Craig? Anything above $600, $550, $600 to about $1,000, you're going to get a pretty doggone good detector, depending what brand you're getting. Then you have the ones that are going, from 1,000 to, we'll say, 2,800. I think that's what some of these machines are running now, as far as price goes. Then that's the top end, the top shelf, so to speak. Those are the more professional machines, and you should know if you want to be in the hobby a lot, to be able to make that kind of investment. But and they have machines that go all the way up to what, Craig, $12,000 now, or what it was, that GPZ or whatever.
It started off at 21,000, I think.
Yeah,
or something like that, and then it kept going down and down.
Yeah,
but I've seen some, some unbelievable finds with those things too.
Right.
As far as it's basically just a gold nugget hunting machine.
Yeah, if you're in a gold field or something like that, yeah.
It doesn't have nuances like the GPXs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there was one. I saw this thing that Fisher had, this strange looking machine, and it was supposed to be pulse and discriminate. And
I hadn't heard about that one.
And I searched everywhere, all over the internet, trying to find out the price of this thing or any more information. And the next thing I knew, everybody was saying that they took it off. There's no more mention of it. And shock.
Well, I don't know how they'd run both at the same time, but I guess it's possible. I mean, to run Pulse and VLF at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interfere with each other, I would think, unless, I don't know. I mean, from what I know about, the electronic part of it.
It's like the Hoover boys, Kurt and I guess Billy is now hunting with these ATXs or whatever they are, Garrett ATX.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it
the
is.
heavy buggers, yeah.
And man, they're digging, small coins, at a foot, and it's pretty incredible. And they're getting, all kinds of little tiny gold jewelry and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty amazing. But then they show how many nails and stuff they dig.
Well,
in
yeah,
order to
that's
get that. But,
it's a necessary evil with a Pulse. So, yeah.
But they went. Kurt started when he first took it to this place they call the Indian Burial Ground because they found so many Indian head pennies in the ground, and it's some park, and it's been pounded for 40 years supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes in there with his ATX, and he's found he wants to find a gold coin,
Right.
but he hadn't found one yet. I think Brad found one, but anyway, he found I think 3 cent nickels. They're not the silver ones, and found 3 of those, and at super depths too. Found just all kinds of little tiny gold rings, earrings, all kinds of like little tiny jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
This machine just seems to
How
love,
I
gold.
It seems to do good, but I just always heard that that machine was awful heavy, if I remember right.
I think it's like 8 pounds.
Yeah, something like
6
that.
pounds or 7 pounds or something like that. I was like, good God, man.
But it does fold up nice, though. I mean, it does fold up and to be able to be carried easier too. But you kind of give up one to keep, get the other. But yeah,
if I could get one, for $1,000 and it was, 2 or 3 pounds, I'd buy one. But
Yeah,
I'm
no
not buying
kidding.
a heavy machine, like that. And that, I'm not, those ATXs are like 2,500 or more.
right. And it just prep. If I was going to buy, I guess if I was going to buy a Pulse machine, I just have to go with the GPX 5000 only because of its record. A lot of people use those; they're good for.
Oh, yeah.
That's one I'd go for. But that's if I was really serious about it. But I've never really had a. You got to like Pulse. Well, I guess I don't know, Craig. I never had an inkling to go to Pulse induction. It's just not. I guess I probably could. I mean, it's not that different as far as the
I
operation.
remember when
of
I
it.
first started seeing people using them, I was watching, a lot of videos and the guys were showing the different sounds. And
Right.
there was this one guy, I haven't seen him doing videos in a while, but he was finding a lot of Confederate stuff. And he was saying that he was using his GPX, and he said some days you go out there and you can distinguish the nails from the good stuff, and then
Right.
you can go back to the same field another day, and you're just digging nail after nail, and they all sound good. And
Right.
he said, I don't know why, but other people told me the same thing, and he said, part of this is, this is a nail digging machine. You're going to dig some deep nails.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta-
And I'm sure
he
it has
said-
a lot to do with the soil moisture and the humidities and stuff like that too, because it does mess with metal detectors. I would think, it would mess with pulse, regular pulse machines.
Another thing
too.
they're doing, they're using them to find hut sites and crash pits.
Yeah.
Some of these crash pits are like 4 feet deep,
Right.
and I've seen a couple guys. One guy, I think, lives in my area, and it's amazing. They found this like bayonet straight up and down. And it's about 3 feet deep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure
then
there's
they-
a ton of
yeah.
stuff out there like that. That we've as VLF world we've kind of passed on. as a group, whatever. And then the Pulse guys come through there, and they do make a ton of good finds, but it's a lot of stuff that we got fooled on maybe, or just didn't want to dig iron. I guess that's why I'm so a stickler about that. If it's a big piece of iron, dig that thing out of the ground and see what the heck it is, because it's probably going to be something cool.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the area you're in.
Well, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I've dug up some black water pipe and everything else you could think of too. But I mean, more often than not, it seems like for every piece of junk, every 5 pieces of junk I get something really cool that's iron, whether it's a fireman wrench or a D-shackle or whatever, So there is a law average, just like gold rings. How many pull tabs do you have to dig before you get a gold ring on a beach? I'll tell you a whole lot, but you're going to eventually get a gold ring. It's just law averages on that. But yeah, the Pulse machines, I just never really had an inkling to go to them. I've always been kind of fascinated with the VLFs, and the discrimination and the nuances and all that kind of stuff. Kind of piqued my interest a long time ago. But other friends use Pulse, no problem. That's their go-to machine. So I guess it's just preference in a way. But they definitely get deeper. I know that. I mean, there's not very many VLFs that can keep up with a Pulse machine.
I see a lot of guys using them as cleanup machines, just like we did with the Bliss tool.
Right.
Go back to the areas that produced a lot of stuff that you're not finding anything, and it makes the place come alive again.
Right.
It's amazing how I see Seven using a GPX, and he gets little tiny round balls, 36 caliber, pistol balls that close to a foot.
Yeesh.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I just noticed. Oh, go ahead.
And sometimes it gets full. It seems like if you get a bent nail that's kind of at 90 degrees, it seems to pick up those, sometimes. But
right. I went by a property today, or yesterday, sorry, the plantation property that I hunted for, 5 years, Craig, when we first got started with Bliss Tool and everything, or had been hunting with the White's machines too. And me and Pauline drove by it the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, I never thought I'd see that day. And they actually ripped down all the woods is all gone. Stumps and all. There was big old thickets and stuff like that with these big trees and stuff, and they leveled it all, and they're out there with disc and plows and this and that and other thing. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe plant it or sod it, or use it for sod fields, because that's big down here. And I'm like, man, I tell you, never get on in the good time, because when you see a bulldozer, I start thinking, okay, they're going to uncover some stuff now, but I may found thousands and thousands of relics on that property, coins and just weird stuff that you just never really even thought about. That's where I found that one drop oiler. I can't even find a picture of it on the internet. It was made in 1921 by Shakespeare. Found one of those in the middle of that field, and a lot of Seminole Indian bullets and stuff like that. Coins of barber dimes and V nickels and standing Liberty quarters. I've found just about everything on that property. At least back to, I think the oldest Indian head I found there was 1880, something like that. So that's about as far back as it goes that I can tell. But still there was a ton of stuff there. But yeah, they finally destroyed the last place that I used to hunt all the time. At least in this time, I have some new spots I can hit, obviously, but it's all the ones the church property, I think, is probably the last one. It's still a dirt parking lot, but I hit that thing for, again, thousands of coins and all kinds of different relics and stuff. It's kind of like, your Breastplate Hill, Craig, they hit it over the years, and, we've kind of beat that thing to death too, but you still go out there or used to go out there anyways, just to see what else you could find.
Yeah. My friend McAdams has been going back, and he said it's getting really hard now to find anything. But I think a couple times back, we went up there, and he took out the E-Track. I think he tried it a few times in his yard, but he never, really gotten it out. And he ran it wide open, and he found, I think, two J hooks and one bullet, which is pretty good compared to how hammered that place was.
Oh
But,
God, yeah, because we only found. I think you found a. I think
Well,
it was
I found two work bullets. I
Mhm.
found like I think it was two bullets that were. One was like made into a poker chip or something, I think, and
Yeah,
I can't remember
yeah.
the other one. And then I got that. What was it? That stirrup or something? Or no, I got a.
saddle. Wasn't it? Oh no, a
No,
key
it was
trigger guard thing.
Trigger guard, yeah.
Yep. And that's
And
also
I
where
got
you
some-
did the
and
breastplate
I got
up there
something.
too.
I got something else there too. That was iron, but I got there was a trunk. There was a stump where this tree came out of the ground, and there was dirt about 6 or 7 feet high,
Mhm.
and sticking out of the ground. I remember I went over the top of it, just stuck the detector up in the air, and got a button back, an
Yep.
evil button back.
Yeah, there's always going to be something left in there. I know it's going to be slim pickings at some of the places I go, even right now. And it's like if I can find one good find, that's all I care about. Because I know I've pounded it to death. I mean, if it's something I simply just missed or didn't come at it from the right angle. A lot of times.
It's like when I went in there, Howard took me in there because he owed me.
Yep.
and so we go in there, and he's not even really hunting. And he told me that a North Carolina button and a U.S. belt buckle had come out of there years ago, and mentioned this guy I knew. And so anyway, I started hunting. I had the Deus, and I go over by this tree, and I get a signal, and I dig up a company letter G.
Mhm.
I even went over the hole, and I was able to get the pin that broke off of it.
Yep.
It was down in the hole.
Uh,
And he got all upset over that one, But then, we were hunting around. I think I got maybe a bullet and a flat button, and that was it that day. And so I said something about, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, and he said, nah. He goes, I don't care. You can come back anytime you want. And so I said, so I took the Bliss tool up there the next day and got that breastplate down
yeah.
about
Yeah.
15 inches deep.
That really got under his
And
skin.
So then him and Mike O'Donnell, who wrote all those relic books and stuff, they started coming back up there, But I must have dug about 30 bullets or so up there, and
I got one up there. I got
maybe-
a 3-ringer up there when I was out there hunting with you. There's still
I got about-
stuff up there.
I got about 15. I got about 15 eagle buttons, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't think I got any state buttons. Got a lot of coins right along the edge of that hill. I got some modern silver, and then I got probably about 4 or 5 Indian heads. A couple were fatties.
Yep.
A lot of buffalo. A couple. I got several. Several buffalo nickels and several war nickels in that area.
Yep. Yeah, just some sites are just never hunted out. I mean, if you hear people, oh, you don't want to go there, it's hunted out. That's the first place I want to go. I don't know what it is. I mean, and I know that several of you had the same experience. I think it was Brandon Stewart was telling us about it one time on the show that, these guys also, you don't want to hunt that spot. It's been hit by every relic hunter on the East Coast and all this stuff. He goes in there and finds those reals or whatever, and it's like, what the heck? If they really hit it that hard, how is he finding all this stuff? It's just like a vicious rumor. Everybody just said it was hunted out. They didn't know for sure, but they heard it was. So.
I've found
They weren't
most
lucky
of my
enough to
best
walk
stuff
across
on
the
this
right
hunted
spot.
out sites.
What's that, Craig?
I've found most of my best stuff on the hunted out sites.
Yeah, I like it because if it is hunted, they got all the scrap junk out of the way, and now it's just those good, nice targets. The deep
Yeah,
ones.
I do it for fun, and if I find one good thing, that's a good day.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where you went out and, if you didn't find 100 bullets, they're going, "What's wrong with you? Something wrong with your machine?" or something like that. We used to go to Fredericksburg, man. You'd have so many bullets; it was unbelievable. And you just go back and back and back. Every time you went, you'd get at least 100 bullets.
Yeah.
And then after about 2 years, it started slowing down, and it got so where it started getting hard to get 50 bullets, but you go down to Stafford, it was the same way. Some of those camps, we'd walk in the middle of nowhere, and some of those camps, they'd only been hit with like Metrotechs from, back in the 70s.
Right. Just different technology.
So, they couldn't get it but a couple inches, in a bullet.
Right.
Back then, and they got all the bullets in the plates mostly, but
A lot of
and a lot of the big iron stuff. But there was just so many bullets and eagle buttons in the ground.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of spots where there wasn't many bullets in the ground, but there was a lot of eagle buttons that the other machines just couldn't reach them.
Yeah. That's I don't know. That's what's one of the exciting things about going to those hunted out spots, because if they're hunted out, people had to have been finding stuff there, at one time or another. So I'll always hit them. But yeah, buddy,
people started in the 50s digging out hut sites without metal detectors.
Right.
That's how it all started. But I talked to the old timers that talked about they used to go in the woods right behind their house. There was hut sites everywhere, and they just dig them out and sift the dirt.
Oh yeah. But yeah, probably wrap it up here in the next couple minutes, Craig. I just wanted to tell you too. I mentioned it to Craig a little bit. I went ahead and monetized the shows there. I'm not sure if it does it to the live show. I think it does. Pretty much just to see, number one, if it was legit or whatever it seems like it is. Spreaker does a pretty good job as near as I can tell so far. And just kind of looking to see, I told Craig, I said, if it pays for the show every month, that'd be kind of a cool thing. That's our goal. But yeah, I put a commercial, and I think it's the beginning and the end. There might be one in the middle, but it's only like 30 seconds or whatever, and comes on there. But I just wanted to see what it'd do. And like I told Craig today, I said, and we'll leave it up like that for a month or two, and if it doesn't do anything, well, we'll just pull it down. As far as doing the monetization, I just kind of wanted to see. I'm kind of curious if I can get the show to just pay for itself, and that way we don't have to worry about that, and just keep on having fun with it. I figured that was a good goal to go for. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, something different and
well,
everything.
Everybody, I think just about every other show's monetized. I know, Seven. I listened to one of his shows and. It was like 5 or 6 commercials in the first hour.
Right. Yeah, I try to do it. I think it's.
At one point, he said, "I'm finished with my obligations on these ads."
Oh, good.
The rest of the show was free, but he has a whole bunch of side deals too. That he does.
Oh yeah, and I get it. It's business. I mean, it's a different part of the business or whatever. Craig and I just, I told him, I said, boy, it'd be nice to be able to pay for the show, because I've been doing, paying for this thing for, Craig, 5 years or whatever it's been. And, it's nice to get some, get it to take care of itself at least. I mean, nobody's going to become a millionaire or nothing like that. But, yeah, it does say I can choose the kind of commercial that they play, but I haven't seen how to do that yet.
One of my lists, I listened to one, and it was like about colleges or something.
Right.
In the college or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I want to be able to pick and choose a little bit if I can. I'm just trying to figure. Maybe I haven't been subscribed to it long enough. It's only been 3 days, something like that, and it may, other stuff might be opened up for me to be able to choose. And at that time, I'll just kind of go through and listen to some of the commercials, and if that's a choice I have to do, and pick out more outdoorsy kind of stuff, whatever. Something at least a little bit interesting. If anything else, people could go and get a drink of water or something while the commercial's going.
Yeah.
For 30 seconds. So, but at any rate, I just wanted to tell you all that, and we'll be on Saturday night as usual, and going to try to keep on doing this Thursday night thing too. I have fun with it. I know Craig does too. So, but we're going to try to, pay more attention to the chat part of this, or at least I am, just to catch your questions and stuff like that about, or maybe you want to bring up a certain topic but don't want to, like call in and all that stuff about a particular detector or a setting. Feel free to put that on the chat part of it. If anything else, the guys on chat will help you out, or get something going on chat. But we'll talk about it too, because Craig and I have used a lot of different detectors and been in a lot of different situations. So if we can help somebody out in what they're doing, that's great. Or if anything else, we'll learn something too. That's usually the way it goes, Craig.
So. Yeah, we also got the Facebook page, Hardcore Metal Detecting. It's doing pretty good, and we're up over, I think, 2,200 followers on that.
Oh, that's good. Craig, I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah, likes and followers.
Good.
So I've gotten a few posts that went, like 27,000, looks and stuff. So
yeah, I saw a couple of those. I was like, wow.
I had one that it showed all these people hunting this seated hunt, and it said something about people showing their coins on Facebook after a seated hunt, and I must have gotten 100 and some shares.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
People are going, I'm stealing this, mem. Like, steal away, buddy.
Steal away.
But there was another good one I did. I showed it. It shows this guy, and he's standing behind his wife, covering her eyes, and he goes, "Honey, you won't believe it." And then he all of a sudden she looks, and there's this whole line of new metal detectors against the wall. She's got like her eyes are like bugging out of her head.
Yeah. Smell divorce in his future. Oh God. But yeah, we try to do. Craig does a good job with that Facebook page. I'm not on there as much as I probably should be, but I do post the show up there and everything, and I try to check out a lot of the other Facebook pages. A lot of the guys, like Ohio Relic Hunter. He has his Ohio Relic Hunting page, and Adventures in History. Mark Hoover does that one. Don't Tread on Me by Dave Edinger takes care of that one. The New Age Goonies, do their bit on Facebook. We always go around, check those out when we can and everything, and like stuff and share stuff and everything else. It's all about the hobby and having fun and everything. So, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. And you can now get to the Hardcore Metal Detecting radio show by just putting in hardcoremetaltecting.com. It'll take you right to the Spreaker page, right to our show. If we're doing a live show, it'll show up on there. If not, you'll be able to go in there and go through and pick out an archive show to download or listen to. It made it a little bit easier, at least for us to, kind of put it out there anyways. If not, you'd have to go through the Facebook page and all that kind of stuff to get to it. So it hopefully made it a little bit easier, a little bit nicer. And we're going to be trying some new stuff too as time goes on. We just finding the time and getting my world back straightened around. It's taken a little bit out of us right in the last month or two, but we're getting our momentum going forward. That's all that matters. So, but probably call it quits for tonight, Craig, and we'll start this thing back up on Saturday night. Does it sound okay?
Yep.
All right, brother. Well, thank you all for listening, and if you can get out there and do some detecting, have fun at it. Keep digging. God bless.